American farmers, their land is their family legacy, and they care for the soil with the next generation in mind. To help growers with their conservation efforts, ADM now offers Regenerations. Regenerations provides cash payments and technical assistance for practices like cover crops and reduced tillage. Participation in Regenerations is easy. It's rewarding, and it's available now. But hurry, the deadline for enrollment is Friday, November 17th. Contact your ADM representative or visit admadvantage.com.
At Central Illinois Outdoors with me, Jared White, we want you to be a part of the program as well via the Archer's Alley Catch of the Week. Each week, we'll select one of your pictures submitted at centralillinoisoutdoors.com and invite you to tell your story of the great outdoors. We're looking for your kid's first catch or even your first big buck. There's a simple, easy form you can fill out on your phone or computer at centralillinoisoutdoors.com. Send us your story, send us your pic. centralillinoisoutdoors.com and the Catch of the Week, brought to you by Archer's Alley, North 22nd Street in Decatur.
Find out how you and your family can save up to 40% on the meat, produce, and grocery items you use every day by clicking the Clinton Save-A-Lot icon at DeWittDailyNews.com.
Peterson Insurance Services in Clinton is a 2014 Pekin Insurance Illinois Agency of the Year. Jay Peterson here from Peterson Insurance. Find out about Pekin's auto, home, or life insurance by clicking on our icon at DeWittDailyNews.com.
Cooler weather is on the way, and at Love It Once More thrift store in Clinton, we're here to help. We have all our pants and jeans, adults and kids, on sale for 20% off. So come and see us. This is Connie reminding you to check us out on Facebook, Instagram, or DeWittDailyNews.com.
This is Ryan Etterback with Etterback Real Estate. Selling your house on your own can be overwhelming. Pricing, phone calls, showings, negotiating offers. Did I mention the paperwork and baking all those cookies for open houses? And that's why you're the other Ryan.
For stress-free selling, click the Etterback Real Estate icon at DeWittDailyNews.com.
Your friend in Central Illinois. WHOW.
Top of the morning. Thanks for being with us. I'm your host today, Seth Lawrence. The WHOW Morning Show streams to Facebook and YouTube. Brought to you by Peterson Insurance, your Pekin Insurance agent in Clinton. My guest in studio this morning with the CEO programs in our area. Melanie Brown leads the Central Illinois CEO program. Good morning, Melanie.
Good morning. Thanks for having me.
Thanks for coming back and talking with us. And Lisa Sheppard leads the Sangamon Valley CEO program. Good morning, Lisa.
Good morning, Seth.
Thanks for coming in and talking with us. And Lisa, it's been a while since I've connected with you. So how is your program going this year?
We're doing well. They're off and running on class business. Tomorrow is their class business pitch. So a little bit of nerves and tweaking those things, but they'll do a great job and looking forward to that with our board tomorrow.
Mm-hmm. They pitch it to the board and the board decides that for them, or how does that work?
So class business is a neat process in that they have to come up with the idea. We walk them through a process of ideation. Involves a lot of Post-it notes, but what we do is have each of our class members contribute 5 to 10 Post-it notes of an idea so that it's not just one person's idea. And then it kind of neutralizes it in that they all get put up on the board instead of it being a specific person, and then walk through that process to narrow it down. Ours have decided on a adult prom. We're still narrowing down a date for mid-January, early February for that, and creating something for those cold winter months for people to come out and enjoy.
Sure. Now tell us, like, size of your group this year, where they come from. How about some of those things?
I've got 10 students this year. We have 6 from Monticello, 3 from Argenta, and we have our first ever DeLand Weldon student. So really excited about that, and neat to see that mix.
Very good. How are they getting along? How are they, the 6 from Monticello, bringing in the 4 from other districts? Like, what's the meshing like?
I think they really like each other and get along well. We have an interesting dynamic in that all 6 from Monticello are guys. So there's some of that natural, like, sticking with who you're most comfortable with, but they do a good job of working with one another and bringing each other's ideas to the table.
So what's been the highlight for your program thus far in the school year?
Oh, wow. There's so many already. I'll go back to just last week. I think it's always neat when you get a full circle moment. So something that has been a really great thing that's happened in one of the past years that comes full circle. So we had a student from our very first year get a job, Mason Walker, get a job with Align Production Systems in Decatur, something I wasn't aware of at all. And he said, you know what, I'm working here. I think it would make a great site visit, and connected the two of us. So Jason Stecker, their CEO, gave a site visit for our class last week, and they're just a really cool company. And they have Jason has turned the company around in the last 20 years. So they went from almost being bankrupt to being a thriving company once again. Wow. And he talked the students through his strategies and how he did that. And even the neat thing about going on a site visit rather than having somebody come to the classroom is they got to see how like the tool carts are organized and how they do that at every station to make their work more efficient. And it's a cool company that does air float casters, something I wasn't even familiar with before that. So they float kind of like a hover, like an air hockey table, except for the air is in the puck, and they will lift thousands of pounds, like rockets and buses and airflow casters. So just how cool to know that that's here in Decatur, Illinois.
No kidding. Now remind us what, folks are hearing about these things you're doing in the CEO program. They hear that term. Remind us what that is, Lisa.
Okay. So the premise of our program is that we are always in a business, never in a classroom. So about 2 days a week, we have classroom days that are in a business working on things such as their class business or individual business. And then the other 2 to 3 days a week, we go on site visits. It's important that our students see and hear business concepts from actual business professionals. So we are very well supported from the business community.
For sure. And just a reminder that this is while it's, you're affiliated with the schools, you bring kids in from various districts. It's not a school funded program. You've really got to fundraise and get people outside of the school interested in this.
It is not, yes. And we lean on our businesses and have such fantastic businesses in our communities all the way around. But from the grassroots funding of it is 100% investor supported. Each program has about 30 to 40 business investors to make a business investment. It's $1,000 a year, and we ask for a commitment of 3 years. So, or a one-time $3,000 investment. And then that keeps it even so that no one business is controlling the program. It's a even investment, no matter where you come in.
Sure. Melanie, how's your class going? I don't mean to leave you out. So how about you?
I love listening to Lisa and how her class is progressing. We compare notes most Fridays, but it's exciting to see them going through this journey as well. But it's going very well. We have 13 students this year, 7 from Warrensburg-Latham, 2 from Farmer City, 3 from Clinton, and 1 from Rural Forsyth. The students, I would say my highlight this year is seeing those individuals who walked in the very first day of class, and they're just the outspoken leaders, as well as those students who walked in the first day who said nothing. And they were like, you could even just see them questioning, what did I get myself into? What did I sign up for? And now as we're getting into group business, all of them recognizing that they're in a room full of other leaders. They are typically the students in school settings that are leading the group work. And now they're in a class where all of them want to be the leaders of the group work. And so how do you navigate through that? And I'm just seeing so much growth and maturity of those natural leaders on that first day are not quieting their spirit, but recognizing the strengths of those around them and leaning into that. And then those who are really quiet, finding their voices and becoming leaders that they know that they're capable of, but they just tend to kind of back away and let those more outspoken ones take over.
Yeah, sure. I bet it's an interesting transition, to watch the students that are kind of quiet on day one and them learn their strengths, and then the rest of the class learn their strengths, and that being able to be leaned on by your peers in the group.
It's really neat. And at the end of each week, the students are required to submit a journal. And that is a reflection of what they learned, what they liked, things that they don't fully understand, because we don't do quizzes and tests in this class. We're more project based. And so each week, that's a great check-in for me to say, what did you get from these speakers and these tours that we are taking? What business concepts are you understanding, and what are you struggling with? And then there's my students share a lot of, the dynamic of the group work where they are seeing struggles and challenges. But then when they step back and they reflect, like, this is hard and it's uncomfortable, but this is making me to be a stronger leader, to be a better person. And that is why I signed up. And when you get those little glimpses, that's like the fruit of all of it.
Yeah. Now, do you ladies ask your students, like, why do you want to be in this class?
Oh, yes.
So when you look at those answers from and you connect it to the more reserved students, what often do you hear from them? Like, is there an underlying theme, Melanie, you notice?
I mean, I have a student from last year that comes to mind immediately, and he signed up and he said, he was very honest from the very beginning. I am very awkward socially, and I want to improve upon my communication skills. So, we got to the end of this first semester, and I was like, you're hardly ever asking questions when we have speakers and guests. And, I'm just holding you accountable. This is why you said you wanted to join. You have improved within the classroom, but I'm going to nudge you this second semester to get out there and ask questions to every speaker, help them to know who you are, make an impression, and really challenge yourself to grow in those leadership abilities. And by the end of the year, he was one of the students that was asking a question at every site visit. He was speaking up and engaging in conversations, and his peers recognized, like, his growth.
Yeah.
And, those are the great moments where we ask them, we want to know why they're there, so then we can help to keep them accountable to fulfill that goal or reason of why they joined.
Yeah, for sure. Anything for you, Lisa, come to mind? Like, again, when you hear these reasons why students join and you connect that reason to the more reserved students, does an underlying theme pop into your mind?
I think Melanie nailed it, that when to get our classes, we pitched to the junior and sophomore classes for Melanie's group, but junior classes for mine. And they see how polished and professional their peers are and able to speak in front of an entire student body. And a lot of our students have said while they were intimidated by that, they want that for themselves too.
Yeah.
And it is really neat to see them grow in their presentation skills and being able to talk to our business professionals, because they have to.
Yeah, it's incredible. Kids have that self-awareness, like probably a lot of, and I don't want to say a lot, but some of my friends back in the day probably would have just been like, oh yeah, I'm awkward. It is what it is, and like eventually I'll come out of my shell, or, whatever, I'm going to go work on computers when I grow up or something like that. So anyways, it's not wild. It's cool that kids have that self-awareness, and they want to improve. That's the other thing, is they want to make those changes and better themselves there. Now, Melanie, you mentioned it is a class business time for you. What's that look like in terms of where you're at in the process?
Yeah, so my class did their pitch last Friday, and I have a unique group because they pitched 2 businesses to our board, and that has not been done before in my class. They pitched a Christmas holiday light contest, as well as a CEO swag store. Our board listened to their pitches, and then they debriefed for about 15 minutes, and the board decided that they were going to let this class take on both businesses.
Wow.
So we will be launching 2 businesses. It'll be a challenge. It is going to push them to a different level, a different limit. But my board felt that since there are 13 of them and they came and made such a good presentation and pitch, and they are super passionate about it, not competing businesses, but a cohesive business where they can overlap in certain areas. They gave them the blessing to move forward. So
wow.
It's going to get busy.
Ambitious indeed. Do you like your group this year?
I do. It is so much fun to see them learning and growing, to see those light bulb moments, like Lisa said, the full circle things. It's just a very rewarding job. It really is.
Sure. How about you, Lisa? You like your group?
I do. Yeah. It's neat to, and it was interesting because we do each quarter we do a side-by-side review, and each student has to sit down with Melanie or I, because we like to take the edge off of any of those things that they're going to experience in the professional world, and they're going to have to sit for like an annual review in most good companies.
Okay.
And so sitting through that, my group was really struggling with asking questions, because they have to ask questions at the end of each of our site visits to the professional. And so had the opportunity to talk to them on that individually. And I've seen even in the second quarter how each of them have taken on that challenge, and our questions have been fantastic. And there's been a lot more of them, and there's less awkward silence. So I like how willing they are to lean into whatever they're asked to do and do a great job with it.
Yeah, we could talk about, the class business and the lessons that they're, learning and the, the things you're doing with them on a day in, day out basis. But I think it's the over time changes and transformations that are fun to talk about, especially this early in the year. We talk at the end of the year a lot of times with your kids, and the transformation is noticeable for sure. But even just the first, 3 months of school, 4 months of school we're at now, it's pretty cool to hear those things as well. We'll go to break here, ladies. We'll come back with more. Lisa, how do folks learn about your CEO program?
We are at SangamonValleyCEO.com or on Facebook, Sangamon Valley CEO.
And Melanie, yours?
You can find us at CentralIllinoisCEO.com or on Instagram and Facebook at Central Illinois CEO.
Very good. Again, that is Melanie Brown. She facilitates the Central Illinois CEO program, and Lisa Sheppard facilitates the Sangamon Valley CEO program. They're our guests in studio, and we'll talk more with them coming up on the WHOW Morning Show.
WHOW. Exclusive benefits. Let's check the markets now on the RFD Radio Network. I'm Jim Taylor. Corn, beans, and wheat all slightly lower at this hour. December corn down half a penny, 4.80 1/4. March corn down a penny, 4.94 1/4. May corn down 1.502 1/2. November beans down 4 3/4, 12.92 1/2. January beans down 3 1/2, 13.16. March beans 13.30 1/2, down 2 3/4. December wheat 5.73 1/4, down 2 1/4. March wheat down 2 1/4, $6 1/4. December bean meal 4.36 even, down 6.40. December bean oil 52.72, up 45 cents. Livestock market at this hour. November feeders 237.52, up 62 cents. October live cattle 184.02, up 2 cents. December lean hog 71.30, up 82 cents. Energy market at this hour. December crude oil 83.64, that's down $1.90. Jim Taylor on the RFD Radio Network.
Chip Flory here, the host of AgriTalk, the nation's longest-running agriculture talk show. I'm here to remind our listeners on Central Illinois' agriculture station, WHOW, that you can hear our show weekday mornings from 10 to 11 on WHOW's many platforms. On the Big 1520 across Central Illinois, 92.3 FM in DeWitt County, and now on 106.5 FM in Logan County, and on the WHOW app. AgriTalk on WHOW.
Paul Scarron, CEO of Warner Hospital and Health Services in Clinton. With October being Breast Cancer Awareness Month, our state-of-the-art 3D mammo machine can help detect early cancer. Find out details by clicking our icon at DeWittDailyNews.com.
For the latest in Central Illinois agricultural news, visit IllinoisFarmRadio.com. Get updated information on markets, weather, ag news, local interviews with NASB farm broadcaster Jared White, and much, much more. All at IllinoisFarmRadio.com.
Your friend in Central Illinois, WHOW.
Once again, a good morning. Thanks for being with us. I'm your host today, Seth Lawrence. The WHOW Morning Show streams to Facebook and YouTube, brought to you by Peterson Insurance, your Pekin Insurance agent in Clinton. Again, in studio with us today, Melanie Brown facilitates the Central Illinois CEO program, and Lisa Sheppard facilitates the Sangamon Valley CEO program. We've talked about group businesses here, guys, and so when it comes to the group businesses, what does that entail, Lisa? Like, what kinds of things do your kids have to consider as they put those things together?
So it's a wide gamut. So they've decided on this adult prom, and you'll have to keep up on our social media to find out more and when and where. But it's the logistics of pricing tickets, and it's the logistics of where is the venue, when's the time, how are we making money off of this, how are we providing value for asking for sponsors, how are we providing value to those sponsors. And they're like, we can't just ask for money. Like, how do you promote their business and cross promote those things? And then all the money that they raise from their class business, then they pitch to the board for grants for their individual business.
Mhm.
So all that money is funneled back into a opportunity for their individual business,
Mhm.
and they're learning all the business concepts and hands-on real life, but with a safety net of those decisions don't have as wide-reaching implications, especially not with other people's employees and families yet.
Right.
So they're getting some practice with some really important decision making at lower stakes.
Lisa brings up a great point, Melanie, about the safety in the failure of the experience. Speak to
Yes.
that a little bit.
Yes. So we do tell the students this is a safe place to fail. We walk them through what business model canvas looks like. So right now we are preparing them as a group how to write a business plan. So then second semester, when they put together a business plan for their own individual business and present that to bankers and request grant money for their own individual business, it's not just a brand new foreign language that they're learning and then having to implement. There will be setbacks. There will be, situations where it doesn't work out the way they had thought, but that's real life. And we teach them to, be innovative and creative and have to pivot. One example that my students are experiencing this year is they wanted to do a CEO swag store. Well, I told them we do not own the CEO logo. We have the Central Illinois CEO logo, but we don't own the CEO brand.
Okay.
It is a nationwide brand. So they had to reach out to Midland Institute, who is the founder of the CEO program, and make a pitch to the CEO of Midland Institute and ask them for permission to use the brand, which then led into a whole lesson of trademarking. And they were told, we do have rights because we are, in a sense, a chapter. So we can use the Central Illinois CEO logo, but we cannot just use the CEO logo and profit off of that. And so that was a failure, if you will, because their business plan model was to target all 70 programs across the US, which their revenue stream was much higher, their reach was much higher. And then they had to pivot and say, okay, now we're just going to focus on the Central Illinois brand. And that makes a smaller funnel, makes a smaller profit opportunity.
Sure.
And a different target market.
It does.
Yeah.
It really does. And so while some of them walked away from that meeting feeling like, we failed, it was like, okay, that was a no for this, but what can we do to continue with this great idea? It is a great idea. And Midland said that, and they gave them their blessing to use the Central Illinois CEO logo. But that is an example of real life experience of where just because you're told no doesn't mean you walk away, you throw in the towel.
Right.
How can you respond to that and then still rise to the challenge?
For sure. Lisa, if you would expand a little more on, you mentioned that the class business really is, I don't want to say fundraiser. It is the catalyst for what their individual business becomes because of the money raised goes back into that. Speak to that a little more.
It is. We believe that you should model what they're going to do next. We start the year with what's called a community engagement project, and they pitch an idea of how to use a space and start to look at the financial logistics of that and how to do that. And that one's how do you pitch? How do you connect to raise those finances? And then the next step is the class business. So then they're doing the same concepts, but they're doing it all together as a group. And they're learning how to look into finances and how to fund their things and how to execute what they say they're going to do. And then from that class business, they pitch again, and those funds are used to have individual grants for their individual business. And then this time they have to do it on their own. They have to make their own pitch. They have to
have their own plan.
Own plan. They have to source their own things. So it's kind of a graded model where hopefully they're independent at the end.
Sure. And again, where do folks go to keep up with Adult Prom and the details as they come out?
Yes. Facebook is the best place for those day-to-day happenings. And Instagram, we're SangamonValleyCEO.com.
Sure. Lisa, how about yours?
I'm Melanie.
I'm sorry, Melanie. Oh.
That's okay. Central Illinois
It's
CEO.
Monday.
It
is. I'm Central Illinois CEO, not to be confused with Lisa in Sangamon Valley CEO.
Yeah.
We are at centralillinoisceo.com
Mhm.
or on Facebook and Instagram at Central Illinois CEO. We are a Christmas light contest. So if you are ready to get in the Christmas spirit, reach out, follow us along, like she said, with our daily happenings. And then if you would like to support the class and their CEO swag store, stay tuned for more details on that.
That's fantastic. Both great ideas coming out of
They
your
are.
groups. Absolutely. I know we had more to get to, ladies, and I unfortunately can't go any farther with us today, but thank you for coming out again. Again, Melanie Brown, facilitator of the Central Illinois CEO program. Lisa Sheppard, facilitator of the Sangamon Valley CEO program, in studio with us. Network news on the way.
The Big 1520 WHOW Clinton, 92.3 FM, W222 BG Clinton, 106.5 FM, W293 DJ Normal Bloomington.
News this hour from townhall.com. I'm Rich Thomason. General Motors and the United Auto Workers Union have reportedly reached a tentative contract agreement, a deal that could end the 6-week-old strike against Detroit's big three automakers. Word of the agreement comes from sources speaking with the AP. The deal set to follow a pattern with Ford last week and with Jeep maker Stellantis over the weekend. Intent on crushing the terrorists, Israeli troops and armor have been pushing deeper into northern and central Gaza